Welcome to another episode of Purpose Today. I'm your host, Dr. April Dobson, and I'm so very excited to have today our very special guest, Mr. Herman Kelly. We're going to talk about purpose-driven leadership, building you and your wealth. Mr. Herman Kelly is a keynote speaker, he's a financial strategist, and he's the CEO of Next Step Consulting. You don't want to go anywhere. We're going to be back after this very special break, and today we're going to unpack how essential your mindset is in ensuring your growth both personally, professionally, and ensuring that you're able to have the growth that you're looking for to build wealth. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these special promotional insights with our special guest, Mr. Herman Kelly.
Dreaming of writing a book, launching a podcast, or creating a digital course? Ready to finally align your career, creativity, and impact? The Purpose Aligned Life Premium Coaching Cohort is here to help you turn purpose into reality. You'll receive tailored services, a personalized one-on-one assessment, 10 weekly group sessions, and exclusive strategy session, all for your desired transformation.
And if you're interested in the Purpose Aligned Life Premium Group Coaching, then you use the link in the chat to schedule your interest Zoom meeting. Well, again, I'm so excited for our special guest, Mr. Herman Kelly, as we talk today about purpose-driven leadership, building you and your wealth. Mr. Herman Kelly, welcome to Purpose Today.
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
I am phenomenal. How are you today?
I'm stupendous. Thank you for asking.
You're very welcome. Well, I know that I shared a little bit of insight about you with our guests, and I shared, that you're the CEO of Next Step Consulting, a keynote speaker, and a financial strategist. But I'm sure that our viewers who are watching are just excited to hear more about you. So can you just share more about yourself with our viewers today?
Well, I'm a pretty simple guy outside of, your introduction. I'm a father, 3 beautiful daughters. I love to cook. Um, and I love numbers. I get a little nerdy when it comes to finance, so I want to just prepare everyone in advance and just kind of apologize to you. I get a little geeked out when it comes to, numbers.
That's a good thing. I think that it's so important for us to do what we love. I mean, really, that's the essence of this show, this podcast, to inspire people to do what they love what they do, and fulfill their purpose today and every day. So be yourself. You have this environment. to do so. So I'm excited that you have an opportunity to talk about, what you love and what you enjoy. So, since you're talking about being geeked out on numbers, what was it that that started that for you? How long have you been geeked out on numbers, and what was the inspiration that led you there?
Well, it's been about 13 years now. So I started out in lending as a loan officer. That's where I started to kind of understand the concept of credit, or the value and importance of having good credit. And from there, I transitioned into banking, and then financial advising, and ultimately what led me here now, which is tax consulting.
That's
So it's been
awesome.
quite the journey.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing about that. And you said you had quite the journey, and I know there are people who are watching who have had, a different journey in their career, and it sounds like you really have progressed. And along the way have discovered what you love. What was that journey like for you, going from going through the progression and really deciding to focus and start Next Step Consulting. How did you make that decision on what area was more intriguing to you and what was more aligned with purpose for you?
So Next Step Consulting is was birthed out of that experience I just shared with you. Starting out as essentially, if I could be transparent, somewhat of a loan shark, working with a company called Tower Loan, whereas that's a company where if you can't get a loan from the bank, right, you don't have the best credit, this is one of the places you can go and receive money. However, because your credit score isn't where it needs to be, the interest in which they charge is ridiculous, right? Let's just to throw numbers out there. Let's say they'll charge 36% as opposed to going to the bank and it's 6%. So
Wow.
being the young age I was and being that's my first experience in finance, I didn't put two and two together. But something just didn't feel right. I'm like, man, these people are paying a lot of money back for what they're borrowing. And from there, I transitioned into banking, where I really get to see the disparity between, okay, they were really taking advantage of those individuals who really had no other option, right? They had nowhere else to go if they needed some funds. So from there, I started to dive into the importance of credit, how to build credit, the algorithm, how does it work, what are the strategies, and in my career again, transitioned over to financial advising, and in that realm, that's where I got to understand the importance of long-term investments and preparing for retirement. And then we transitioned simply to taxes. And I could be transparent with you. I stumbled upon taxes. I was just doing so well in my career field that my mentor said, Herman, taxes is really a direction I see you flourishing in. And I fell in love with it. So I started Next Step Consulting for my passion for helping people, because I saw that individuals, it's not that they didn't want to have their credit together, it's not that they didn't want to have their financial situation in order. They was just unaware of what it took to get it done. So the concept of Next Step Consulting is, regardless of where you are in your financial journey, whether you're working at McDonald's and you're just trying to make ends meet, or you have multi millions and you're preparing to leave it over to your grandkids and your kids, we can help you regardless of what the next step is in your financial future.
That's so good.
Hmm.
Mr. Kelly, you said a lot of things that I feel like we need to unpack.
Okay.
And, I want to give space and time for us to unpack these things because there were several things that you said that really stood out. And one of the things that you said is, seeing this disparity and seeing, that people were paying far more than what they, should have been paying in interest. And you discover, as you begin to, learn more, you had this passion. And so passion drove the
For sure.
development in your career progression and even with the launch of your business. So I
Hmm.
want to talk about a lot of these different elements and I want to
Sure.
start first with, the passion and the purpose. And so I believe that, purpose and passion should take a priority in what we
Hmm.
choose to do as it relates to our careers, as it relates to our businesses. So I want you to just share with our audience, because we're talking about the importance of purpose driven leadership, and we're
Hmm.
talking about the importance of building ourselves and building our wealth. So from your perspective, what for you is your perspective on leadership and purpose in our lives, and how does that drive what we do?
Well, let's start with purpose, right? I think purpose is truly the foundation of fulfillment, right? Purpose drives everything I do in life. And so I believe one of the biggest questions is like, how do I discover my purpose? How do I figure out what I was put on this earth to do. And I believe the easiest way to figure that out is to analyze what is it that's pulling me that doesn't pull other people, right? And so for me, when I first started my career in as a loan shark, as a loan officer, I was the only one in the office that like felt like what we were doing was wrong. Everyone else is gung ho and let's sell loans and let's get this money, flowing. Let's get bonuses. And yes, money is important, but at what cost, right? And that's just how I personally felt. So uh, I allowed that feeling of true disgust to guide my path out of the lending uh, area and go into banking, right? And then again, even in banking, their their concepts and their morals it just wasn't rubbing right with me. So again, I transitioned into financial advising, and I've always felt this tug and this pull to help, right? I grew up with limited resources, and so I was able to relate to a lot of the day-to-day customers in a way that most people weren't. So I allowed that passion to fuel my education. Okay, well, I really want to help these people, so let me educate myself so I can educate them. And that's truly is how I embarked on this journey and everything else I pursue. Now, as far as leadership is concerned, if the two go hand in hand, you're unstoppable, right? Because if you truly identify and pursue your purpose, and you're also developing those leadership qualities, now is you're no longer just limiting the impact to how much you can do. You can now build a team and build a following of individuals who want to follow you strictly because they share the same vision as you. However, if you're unable to lead those individuals, everyone's just, running around with no direction. So leadership is imperative if you truly would like to pursue your passions and your purpose.
That's good. That's good. You said a lot of wonderful things, and I want to go back a little bit to the aspect that you talked about how you had a disgust for seeing, what wasn't right, and you were the
Hmm.
only one in your office
Hmm.
who saw that there was an issue with the practices. And
Yes.
oftentimes, and you talked about how that can reveal insight on our purpose. And oftentimes, our purpose, there's clues to our purpose in terms of what bothers us. What is it that we just can't have, rest over? What is it that we know that something needs to be done about it and someone needs to do something? And we're the one who, takes on the responsibility. We step up as leaders to
Yes.
actually address those very things that we
Hmm.
have recognized that are problematic. And you said something too, which really goes into a lot of what we're talking about today when we talk
Hmm.
about, growing ourselves. You said that there were areas where there was a gap that you identified. So you had to go and educate yourself and you had to go and develop to ensure that you could bring additional solutions to the problems that you saw that you couldn't simply ignore.
Most definitely.
So, so in that, what is at least one thing that you can say to people who are like you were? You see
Hmm.
something, it bothers you. You know
Hmm.
someone needs to do something about it, and you know you're the solution to the problem that you see, but you
Yes.
know that there's a gap. Where do they start in identifying what type of development specifically is needed to close that gap?
So to make it broad, right? Because I'm in finance, so it's very simple. What aspect of finance would you like to impact an individual? Go into go educate yourself in that area, and then you can now provide value. But what about the individual that isn't into finance? It isn't their purpose to affect people's finances, right? So I believe there's a general statement or a general idea that you can pursue, and I truly live by this, right? It's goes into what we're saying. Identify what it is that bothers you, right? And then you'll begin to have ideas on like an impact you can make, right? But I think the key is truly believing and understanding that God chose you for this assignment,
Right.
right? So because God chose you for this assignment, don't worry about the money, right? Don't worry about the resources because everything's going to be there. You just have to start walking. You just have to start walking in that direction. So honestly, the best advice I can give is whatever ideas come to you, simply pursue them and allow life to blossom before you. And God will put all the resources you need in order to make it happen. Whether that resource is finances or maybe a mentor. You, who knows what it is, but you'll never know until you start walking. In my particular journey, me and God have an interesting relationship because He doesn't reveal anything to me until I take a step, and then He'll give me a glimpse, and it's okay. I'll give you just enough glimpse so you can see step number two, and just enough to see step number three. So, and I believe in the zest of life, so I find it exciting, you know.
Yes, yes. And I'm so glad that you said that because I just was going to say, with what you were saying in terms of start walking, a lot of people are waiting for the entire picture to be clear and to have the
Hmm.
clarity on something before they're willing to take a step forward. And often, what God wants is He wants us to operate in faith. He wants us to start walking.
Yes.
He wants us to actually apply and do what we can do with what we have, with the resources that we have, with the time that we
Exactly.
have, with the gifts and skills and talents that we have, and with the portion of the vision and purpose that He has revealed to us. And just like you said, when we start walking, when we start taking those action steps, that's when we can be entrusted enough for Him to give us more insight. The
Hmm.
Bible talks about He who is faithful in little is made ruler over much. And
Come on
God is
now.
never going to give us more than we can manage. And
Never.
so it's important for us to act on what it is that we know. I can think of countless times that God told me to do something and He gave me a glimpse. And it wasn't until I acted on what He gave me until He started revealing, more to me. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Most
I
definitely.
want to I want to go back to something that you said earlier when you were, talking earlier about your experience and
Hmm.
and taking us through just the various processes and the various services that you've provided to people. And one of the things that you talked about is things that people make investments in, right? And you
Hmm.
talked about, people not being in a position in one of your earlier points in your career, and you wanted to make sure that you could impact people to be able to make great investments. So,
Hmm.
what would you say is one of the biggest investments that leaders can make? And what is, something that is one of the most underestimated
Hmm.
investments?
So, interestingly enough, I get calls all the time about, hey, Herman, I have X amount of money. Where can I put it? Where can I invest it to get the most bang for my buck? And depending on where you are in your career field, I generally give the same advice. Invest it in yourself, right? Honestly, strictly because investing in yourself is the best way to increase your earning potential. If you have X amount of dollars, whether it's 400, 4,000, or $40,000, you're going to get a greater rate of return investing in a mentor, investing in better tools, better systems, and educating yourself. And now you're increasing your earning potential, which increases your financial faucet, is what I like to call it, because you can turn the faucet on to run faster and higher, right? So you increase your income, which in turn increases the amount you can invest in stocks and annuities and X, Y, and Z. But so invest in yourself, invest in your mentorship, invest in further education, and really take the time to identify the direction that you really want to go into. So yeah, investing in yourself first and foremost.
I love that, and I agree. And I believe that a lot of times people aren't putting the value. they're underestimating the immense return on investment, return on purpose that they have from investing in the most valuable resource in their life, their selves.
So here's the
So,
thing. Investing is all risky. There is no investment that's 100% foolproof, except investing in yourself. That's the only one that has a guaranteed return on investment. That's the only one. Because even honestly, even if you make a mistake, you now learn we're not doing that again. you know.
absolutely.
So yeah, invest in yourself. Pretty please. Don't make me beg.
I love that. And hopefully, people are now convinced if they haven't been intentional and purposeful about investing in themselves, that they,
So,
now are doing that. And, there's a lot of approaches that they can use to ensure that they have a development plan and a plan for continuing to invest in themselves. So I
yes,
want to
ma'am.
talk a little, I want to talk a little bit about more on mindset, because
Hmm.
mindset truly matters. And
Yes,
I know that, as a man thinketh in his heart, then so is he.
for
So
sure.
let's talk about mindset and your perspective on mindset. So, how does mindset impact our lives overall, and how does it impact the way that we lead?
So our thought process and a mindset is the foundation of everything that exists, right? Everything in your life is due to your perspective and your personal mindset. So it is easily the most important aspect that we should focus on. There's two different scenarios, right? There's scenario in the beginning where it's like your attitude, right? There's two individuals that work in the same place. Let's say an individual works at McDonald's, and there's the person who goes into work and they say, okay, they're only paying me 8.25, so I'm going to give the bare minimum. I'm going to give them an 8.25 effort. And then it's the same person that goes into work that says, okay, I'm starting at 8.25, but I have aspirations to get to $10 and then 25 and then 30. So because of that mindset, their actions follow, right? Their actions are two completely different set of actions because there's two completely different mindsets, right? So that's the first thing, is getting your attitude and your perspective together, because if you don't have the right perspective on the situation, the actions aren't going to be things that are going to help you grow. You know, so that's my thought process when it comes to mindset. The second thing is more for entrepreneurs or really just athletes, anybody. I believe our mind is the one thing in this world that we have 100% control of, right? So when you think about your future, when you think about a task, when you think about a challenge, always see yourself successful in your mind, right? Because again, it's the only place that you control, and you control it. So if you're going to face a challenge or you see something down the line that you're kind of nervous about, why view yourself as failing? Why even take into consideration that you're not going to be able to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish? I tell my mentees, throw a party in your mind every day, right? Every single thing I see myself doing, I'm flourishing in it. And thus, again, that fuels that belief system, that fuels your perspective, and it fuels your actions. And you're going to attack the day differently as opposed to approaching things timidly. So if you view yourself as successful prior to anything, your chances for success increase exponentially.
That's wonderful. And, I agree with you wholeheartedly. It's so
Mhm.
important for them to first see themselves as they desire to be,
Mhm.
have the opportunity to like celebrate themselves. I love the way you coined it, throw a party in your mind.
Throw a
You
party
know,
every day.
our mindset is like so, so, so important. And so I think it's wonderful to envision what it is to throw the party in our minds on, how we envision ourselves every day. And then we begin to align our actions. So as we're talking about mindset, as we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about seeing ourselves right, throwing the party in our mind, what is your advice on how much they should actually document, how much should they write down to help them to put into action what it is that they're dreaming about, what they've, are aspiring to do?
Mm-hmm. So I journal daily, personally. And the reason I journal is because, as I mentioned earlier, I came from an upbringing of limited resources. So, and I've always envisioned myself to be successful and pursued wealth and impact, massive impact is my true desire. So, especially during my down times, my down years financially in the past, man, that was some of my favorite times to document because, and I put the dates so that now I can go back and read, oh man, I was here 5 years ago. This is where I was 3 years ago. This is the way I thought a year ago, or these were my business plans when I started the business, and look how far we've grown. So again, it's again everything is psychological because we can reach a certain pinnacle of success, but the way the human mind and the human body works is that it gets adjusted really quickly. So you can, back when you didn't have two pennies to rub together, and now you have $100,000 in your bank account, but you feel stuck because we forgot about the times we didn't have anything. So being able to go back and reflect on, man, look how far I've come, really, and just truly appreciate the journey that we call life here. Um, that's one of the four most reasons I would recommend to journal and document. But when it comes to business and business planning, for sure, you definitely want to have a strategic plan written out, so at least at the very least you have action steps to follow. Right? A lot of us just keep things in our mind. That's rule number one. Don't trust your memory. Right? We have a lot of things firing off, a lot of things going on from day to day. So write it down, and have action steps to pursue every day. And yes, that's the power of journaling. Sure.
Yes, that's so good. Um, Thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to, also one of the things that can be another powerful tool is vision boards.
Mhm.
What is your perspective on vision boards, and how does a vision board augment the daily journaling?
So I personally, I've done vision boards in the past. I have mentors who live by vision boards. Me, not necessarily, but I guess so. So something I do enjoy doing is kind of speaking my vision for the future into Chat GPT and having it create an image, and then I place that image as my phone lock screen. Right, and that's a daily reminder of this is the trajectory I intend to pursue. Because it kind of goes back into mindset of what I guess I kind of skipped that part before. When it comes to like throwing a party in your mind and seeing yourself successful, I truly believe the key to obtaining whatever it is you desire is being able to visualize
Yes.
yourself already possessing what it is you desire. I think you touched on it, being the person you desire to be. If you feel like you're not that individual right now, well, great. Take the time, close your eyes, meditate, envision yourself as that person, doing what that person does, looking how that individual looks, carrying yourself as that individual carries themselves, and just embody that person on a daily basis. I like going to it so deeply to where you feel like you're an actor or an actress, really playing a role until you truly embody it and become that person, you know? So you can do that. I personally do it in my mind and just visualize it, writing it down. What does this person look like? However, if you would like to use a vision board is fine as well. I just don't see myself on the vision board, so it's difficult for me to kind of associate myself. But in my mind and in my journal, it's me all day.
Yeah. But I love what you said because you actually took everything that you envisioned, what
Mhm.
you see for yourself, you put it into ChatGPT and have ChatGPT create an image and you put it on your phone as a
Mhm.
screensaver. You have
Yes.
a digital,
Vision board.
replica of what would kind of be like a vision board, but
Yes.
you have a daily reminder of
Mhm.
everything that you've already set that you're going to achieve, and you're looking at it every day. And
Mhm.
so I really love that idea, and I believe that people who are watching should actually go do it now. Just open another tab as you're watching
Yes.
this live stream
Really.
and do it. Just do it in ChatGPT and then save it as your screensaver on your phone so that what you're dreaming about as you're envisioning yourself doing it, as you're throwing the party in your head every day, and as you're journaling, you have something that you can go back to and you can see tangibly as a reminder of what you are embodying. And I want to, I so appreciate you sharing that. This is so insightful. And, the other thing that I believe that people should add to that is they are going about their day as they are making decisions. Then they have to look back at that digital representation, right? And they're making the decisions. They have to ask themselves the questions: does this align with my purpose? And does this align with the future that I have
Mhm.
said, is my life? And you have to make the decisions from that lens. So that's excellent. So thank you so much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Kelly, for
And just
that.
to kind of just a thought that piggybacks off of what you just said, life is going to challenge you in a sense of whenever you decide who you want to be and the standards you want to set for yourself, life is going to challenge you to see if you're really going to do what you say you're going to do. So the moment you say, I want to lock in and cut out distractions, distractions are going to present themselves like nobody's business. And now you have the opportunity to excel in a sense to say, okay, I'm really going to cut out these distractions. Or you're going to succumb to do with the person you've been.
Yes,
So
that's
the choice
good.
is yours.
That's good. So I know you talked a little bit earlier about some of the services that you provide
Mhm.
to clients with Next Step Consulting. But I want to make sure that everybody who's viewing that they're clear on those services. So can you just
Yes.
share more insight on the services, and if there are viewers who are interested in speaking with you regarding those
Mhm.
services, where would they start? How would they learn more?
So the easiest way to reach me, right? You look at my Instagram, right? Mr. Finance HK. I have a lot of information there. My website kind of just gives you more of an insight of what we do, the services we offer, if you want to schedule an appointment. But if you want to reach me directly, there's my email address. Feel free to email me at info@mynextsteps.biz, steps with an S. And yeah, so that's the best way to contact me. As far as our services we provide, we quite literally service individuals in regardless of whatever phase of life they're in, right? We've created strategic partnerships and we've built a team. So we can service the individual, again, the individual that works at Raising Cane's, at the local chicken spot, who just trying to figure out how to budget and analyze my spending habits and how can I create a savings plan and saving strategy. We help in that area. We also help, okay, we're trying to build your credit and you want to purchase a home or make a major purchase, or you just feel like, you know what, I haven't got my finances in order. I just want to get my credit in order. We have services that can assist with credit building and strategically getting your credit on point to, you know, full service, full blown financial services and investing and long-term investing and estate planning and retirement. And then if you want to work with me personally, I come in and assist with tax consulting and tax preparation and tax strategy. So regardless of what you need to get done financially, we have the resources and the team to assist.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I know that you said that Next Step Consulting helps people at every end of the spectrum,
Every
at
step.
different phases, and that's wonderful. It's so wonderful that your company provides those services and ensures that people can build wealth. You know, one of the things that parents always want to do is they want to be, they want to lead well and they want to ensure that their children are educated and are aware of different financial strategies, how to save, those things. So I want you to just share, if you don't mind sharing, with the audience, your
Hmm.
advice to parents and leaders. What is your advice on the conversation? So, what conversations should parents have with their children regarding financial planning and investment? And how early should parents start having these conversations with their children?
So this is actually what started the journey itself. Is I believe my thought process was I would like to educate the parents so that they can pour into their kids. Right. That's really why I do this. Right. I'm gonna teach you so you can teach your family because the impact I'm limited on what I can do. But the impact continues to grow if we continue to pour it and pass it down. So, as far as educating the children, the age you should start is as soon as they're able to understand, right? My father, what he did to me was he started to charge me 25 cents anytime I left a light on in the
Oh,
house,
wow.
right? He would charge me 10 cents. He did our laundry, and if we left things in our pocket, he would charge us 10 cents for every pocket that had something in it. So kind of teaching the kids, okay, well, there's going to be expenses in life, right? You have to learn. And then we didn't know is that he saved everything we gave him for years. 10, 15 years he saved in quarters and dimes and was putting in a savings account for us, right?
Wow.
So something as simple as that. But as far as when your children are getting older, right? 10, 12 years old, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, right? So that's kind of an age you can start to teach your children about entrepreneurship, whether it's starting a lemonade stand, outside the house, or even, my little sister used to buy candy bars at Sam's Club and then go to school at lunchtime and had a little snack shack that she was selling, $1, $2 a piece at school. You used to be able to get a candy bar for $1 back in, I'm not gonna reveal my age, but back in the day, right? so, just little things like that at that young age, where it's not necessarily you're not sitting down the kid and going writing numbers and this is how you invest. No, but actually physically teaching them and making it fun and exciting because now they're subconsciously grasping the concept of business and they get to experience a win and they get to figure out, okay, like, these candy bars are selling better than these candy bars. So, and they're just getting business concepts at such an early age. And then moving on to like 15, 16, high school ages, I believe that's a great age to start teaching about credit, the importance of credit and truly budgeting and money management. So they carry over those lessons to their adulthood. And then, once you get into the 20s, that's when we can start talking about taxes. And it depends on, the kid's career path when we start talking about tax strategies. But ultimately, the foundational pieces of understanding entrepreneurship and understanding, hey, look, there's more paths out here than me going out and getting a job. I can create
Right.
wealth on my own, if they so choose to do so. So teaching them entrepreneurship early, teaching them money management and strategy early, and teaching them credit in those teen years and understanding the value and really taking the time out to say, hey, look, what's your dream car? This is what I'll tell. When I was a banker, my favorite thing to do was to talk to teenagers about credit. And I ask them, what's your dream car? What's your dream house? Okay, well, great. If you have poor credit, this is how much you're paying for this.
Your best friend bought the exact same thing, but they had good credit. And this is how much less they're paying for this particular item, right? And then also educating them and helping them understand that, hey, the true basis for wealth is managing your expenses.
Yes.
So you don't have to try to keep up with the Joneses and be impressive to everyone and look like you have money. And but like helping them understand, hey, the person you see wearing the Gucci and the Prada and the Louis Vuitton and driving that, whatever $100,000 car, that's not money they have. That's money they had, and they
Yeah.
spent. So helping them understand, hey, if you live a minimalist lifestyle to begin with, that'll free up your cash flow to invest in yourself, to invest in your business, so that you can now have both the lifestyle and the financial freedom without having to pick one.
That's good. That's really good. Excellent, excellent
I told you I
advice.
get real nerdy and geeked out when it comes to this. I'm just rambling. I told you.
No, you're good. You're good. This is great. I love it. Now, I want to make sure that we take it a step further and talk
Okay.
about generational wealth for families. So,
Mhm.
what can leaders and entrepreneurs do regarding legacy and generational wealth for their families?
I believe, honestly, beyond leaving money for your family, it's truly pouring into yourself. You have to pour into yourself because if we only have ignorance, the only thing we can pass down to our children is that ignorance.
Yeah.
But if we educate ourselves and then implement what we're learning, our children can learn from our example,
Yes.
but also now we have the insights to pour into them. But because you can't pour into someone something you don't have. So, like, again, we can pass down money, but if you don't teach them proper money management and structures, they're going to lose it as fast as you give it to them. So the education and the information we pass down is far greater than any dollar amount we can just hand over to them. I
That's
truly believe that's the key to passing down legacy and maintaining that wealth. Because if you pass down a few $1 million to your children, it may make it to your grandchildren, but if you pass down the money and the education, it'll continue to grow and it'll continue to flourish. And congratulations, you're the catalyst that impacted your entire generation, your namesake.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I believe we could probably talk on and on and on, but I know you have places to go and things to do, and so do I. But what's on the horizon for you?
Man, we're just going to continue to grow, continue to impact. That's truly my goal, to continue to grow my team so that we can just impact more people and change more lives, you know, financially, honestly. So my goal is to build my team so that we can impact, but we can also provide a salary and an income that impacts people's lives. That is truly why I pursued entrepreneurship, why I pursued ownership, is because I came to a realization that I like to use the McDonald's example. If someone's sitting with me and they're brilliant, but they just have a limiting mindset, so they're working at McDonald's, and I can educate them all day on how to budget and save money, but their income is so low, they're saving $50 a month. However, if I can take that individual, teach them these strategies and these concepts, and now they can pass that value down to someone else, I can employ them and provide them not only with continuous financial advice and guidance, but also the financial means to implement these ideas and structures that I'm giving them.
That's
So,
excellent.
what's on the horizon? We're going to continue to build teams. We're going to continue to help put money in people's pockets, and we're going to make a massive impact.
That's excellent. Now, I know that there may be something that you maybe wanted to share that we didn't have an opportunity to discuss today. So, is there anything that you would like to leave with our viewers as we close?
It just goes back to mindset, and understand that every limitation is self-imposed. you can truly accomplish whatever it is your heart desires. That person that you see, that you emulate, that you idolize, that you like, this is the greatest person God has ever made, is merely human, just like you. And just as they accomplish something, you can accomplish it. And just simply, my strategy, remove the timeline, because comparison is the thief of all joy. Don't
Yes.
compare your journey to their don't compare your journey to their journey, right? So remove the timeline of, I should have been here by now, or, oh, it's too late for me. Like, no, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're exactly where you need to be at this particular time, because everything that's occurred in your life has brought you to this moment. Now let's move forward.
That's good.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
got.
good. I love that. So thank you so much, Mr. Herman Kelly. I tell you, this has been such a joy speaking with you today. I'm sure our viewers have had some amazing, amazing, amazing wisdom and insight that they've received just from everything that you've shared on today.
Indeed.
If for whatever reason we didn't get to your questions that you have in the chat, then, certainly we'll do our best. You can, reach out to Mr. Kelly. His information is on the screen once more. But so thank you so much, Mr. Kelly, for joining today. I know we're going to talk backstage after this final promotional video, but this has just truly been a pleasure and an honor to speak with you today regarding purpose-driven leadership, building you and your wealth. And hopefully this has given you an opportunity to really reflect on how your mindset is impacting your growth strategy. And if you don't have the proper mindset, then you were just equipped with what you need to make changes to your mindset. And you have to do, like Mr. Kelly said, and invest in yourself. Make the investment to invest in yourself. It's going to help to increase your return on investment in other areas. It's going to help to increase your earning potential, your investment potential, and it's going to help to leave a lasting legacy for future generations when you're able to pass on the knowledge and the education that you've gained. So thank you so much, Mr. Herman Kelly. Thank you all for viewing today's episode of Purpose Today. And stay tuned for another episode, and stay purposed today and every day.
Dreaming of writing a book, launching a podcast, or creating a digital course? Ready to finally align your career, creativity, and impact? The Purpose Aligned Life Premium Coaching Cohort is here to help you turn purpose into reality. You'll receive tailored services, a personalized one-on-one assessment, 10 weekly group sessions, and exclusive strategy session, all for your desired transformation.